Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. And Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rare Devil Von Daredevil. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
Just alive with pleasure, sir. How are you today?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. And I got a couple of ideas here. I'm an idea man. I thrive on energy. And we've done a few times episode breakdowns of shows. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, The Penguin come to mind as don't wait.
Last of Us.
Last of Us, good one. We'll do that again.
Yes, we will.
So, rather than waiting to the end of the season or even the midway point, we've done them every week. There's another show that may deserve that attention. That show is called Severance.
It's kind of getting into that territory, isn't it?
It is. Now, it's not as popular as those other shows. It's not as watched, but whatever. We're a niche podcast. And I just think there's so much going on in every one of these episodes that if we waited till the end, we'd miss so much stuff.
And there's no way, even if we did like a 2-part, like there's no way that we could do all of it. We would forget so much stuff.
Yep.
By the end.
So I'm saying, like, there's little Easter eggs, or there's also just straight up like questions that need to be asked and maybe answered, and it allows for even more speculation. I think so. Like, there might be stuff that's answered in episode 4, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to talk about it now or talk about it after each one. So I think,
or where we think it's going, or like what do you think is.
Yeah,
because I gotta be honest with you, I have no clue what the hell's happening right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you, watching Severance, and so season 1, we did an episode on. You can go back in the archives and check it out. Actually, Billy D was in for Davey because Davey watched it after the fact. I think you binged it later.
I binged it later because I came in too late. Like you were like, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, and then by the time I couldn't catch up in time where like the show was done.
Yeah.
And so Billy stepped in because like he had finished it, and what a great host! Obviously, what a great guest host.
He watched it in like a weekend, I think, and it was. No, but this show is right up there. It's probably top 5 shows for this.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
And it's not even like it's not even at the end of the episode. It's like 2 or 3 times within the episode.
Oh yeah. You're early on in the episode. You're just like you're like looking around, like nobody's in the room. You're like, what are we doing?
Like, can somebody help out? And you're like looking around. There's no one there.
It's great. So if you've never seen it, the season 1 is 9 episodes, and it's anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour. You should rip it. It's on Apple TV Plus right now. Rip it. It's a weekly show. I think it's a Friday episode. So if we're doing these on Monday, I think we should dedicate one of the episodes to Severance. So this week, here's the plan. If we have time at the end of this episode, we will do some episode 1 stuff. Next week, we'll start with episode 2. I think so, right? I think people would want this.
Or I mean, we could do like 1 and 2, like in one shot.
And next week we can do 1 and 2, and then I think it's a 10 episode season.
Yeah,
we can end on 10. We can even see if Billy D wants to join us for some of these and hop on as a third dude.
You know, we know he's a fan.
He's a fan, and it's good because shows like this and like Lost and From, there's just so many questions. It's so many theories as to like what is going on.
Yeah.
But all right, I love it. That's all I wanted to hear.
It's a done deal. And we got the people in the chat supporting
people in the chat feel like
too.
It.
So
it's perfect. Love this. So we will do it. Severance starting next week, season 2. Another show that we can't wait for. Probably won't get the episode by episode breakdown necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe it will. Daredevil Born Again. The long-awaited return of Daredevil, one of you and my favorite shows of all time on Netflix, is coming to Disney Plus, and it's not Daredevil season 4, but it's also not Daredevil.
It's not because there are things that happen because from in the trailer you have Kingpin and Daredevil speaking to each other, and they allude to the fact that it's been some time since they've seen each other, and it's not. What does he say? It's not unpleasant seeing you.
Yeah, something like that. Or no, it's not. Yeah, it's not unpleasant. So he's the mayor now. Kingpin's the mayor.
Yeah.
which is another whole storyline in the comics. And the Punisher is back. John Bernthal, Frank Castle, Punisher, one of my favorite characters put to the silver screen.
And I would say on a Downey Jr. level of people who were born to play that role.
Yep. And that's what's so good about this show is because Charlie Cox and John Bernthal, there's not a single person I'd rather have play either guy.
No.
Like they're so fucking
And
good.
you should be allowed to do that until you don't want to do it anymore.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So you get those two guys. It does look pretty dark and violent, which I know is some of the concern with Disney Plus. I don't think we need to be too worried about it.
No.
They're brought back like all the stunt coordinators and stuff from that show. So I think you're gonna get that. Karen Page, Foggy. Now, is the character that we see for a moment, is that Muse in like the white kind of like
think so?
mask?
And you see a very bulked up Bullseye too.
Yes, who one of the reasons I was so disappointed that it was canceled by Netflix, Daredevil, was because I thought season 3 was unbelievable. Like I think it's an underrated season of just television, and Bullseye was great. So I wanted to see more of that. So it looks like we will.
Yes, you will.
But this show, I cannot wait for.
This is going to be really fucking good.
This is going to be sick. Another thing that could be possibly sick, Ryan. Have you seen the Until Dawn trailer?
Yes.
Now, did you play the game? You did play
I
the
did.
game.
Yeah. I did. Yeah.
This trailer, so it's a PlayStation game turned into a movie. We tweeted it out at DORK Podcast if you haven't seen it yet. This movie looks awesome. It looks fucking creepy as hell.
And these games, so like we played Until Dawn, and what was the one we both played? The Quarry?
Yeah, the Quarry we did, yep.
So one of the most fun video game experiences you can have is like, so one of the things that I did is my wife and I would, like, instead of watching a horror movie, we would play a chapter of The Quarry, and she would make the decisions, or we would talk about the decisions, and I would just like play the game. And she'd be like, go this way, go this way. So we were like, they're like, choose your own adventure thing. So I think what would be cool is if you could make it into a movie. I get you could make it into like an interactive movie, like Netflix has done that before, but like this is kind of like,
yeah, they did it with Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
The movie.
But it's kind of like that, but a horror movie. So like, I'm not going to give too much away, but like these, teens go away in a cabin, and it involves a certain cryptid, which I know I'll tell you off air if no one's spoiled it. I mean, game's 10 years old if you haven't played it. Yeah.
It looks pretty creepy. It looks like a cool idea.
It is cool.
They're just like trying to solve a murder, and so they just like keep waking up. So it's got like a little bit of like Happy Death Day to it, a little bit too. So I'm interested on that. Brennan in the chat had something I was going to talk about too. He said Wolfman was So Wolfman just came out in theaters. Lee Wennall's movie, which I wanted to see. I didn't see it yet. Friend of the show, Jermaine Wiggins, saw it. He told me it was good. He did say it in a way where I was like, do I need to see it in the theater? And he's like, yeah, you could. So I don't know if I will. He did like it though. It's currently on Roddy T's 52% critic, 58% audience.
Yeah, and I saw it was a little lower than that when I saw it, but I think it's a reimagining of this character and not like full werewolf. It's just kind of like looking at the character, it does not look like he goes into a huge transformation.
No. He also did, Lee Wennall did, not only did he do like the Saw movies and stuff with James Wan, but he did Invisible Man, which I thought was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
2020's Invisible Man. This one, we'll see. It's got Julia Gardner from Ozark is in it. I want these movies. Like, I want these
to succeed. Yeah.
I don't know if they will necessarily, but I'll give it a rip at some point.
Yes.
Dave, I don't know how much you followed the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit that's been going on.
More than I want to.
Yeah. You can't ignore it.
It happens to me, but it's like because of Marvel and Ryan Reynolds and because now he's involved with the whole thing too.
Yeah.
And so like this whole Nice Pool thing.
Ridiculous. So Nice Pool, from Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine. So the Nice Bull character obviously was just kind of like a joke or whatever. And apparently, based on this lawsuit, it was a joke at the expense of this Justin Baldoni guy, which I was like, who would have known that? Who in the world would have connected those dots?
They wouldn't have unless all this stuff and like she released all these text messages and he was like, okay, you want to release the real text messages? And then he did, and then people kind of pieced it together because there's a joke in Deadpool of many. There's one in like Deadpool and Wolverine where he makes reference to like an intimacy coach, and that was like a point of contention between Baldoni and Lively. Was like he wanted to get her one and she was like no, and then like it was like this whole thing, and like they went back and forth. So like people would, if she had never released any of those text messages, people would not have been able to connect that dot.
Never. I don't know what to believe with these two.
She does not strike me as a person who seems very nice.
No, not Nice Pool. It doesn't.
She is not Nice Pool.
It also, that movie I watched because it was on
Mhm.
Netflix, horrible piece of shit movie. So like for
Yeah.
all of this like $400 million lawsuits to come out of these two working together on a piece of shit movie is ridiculous. And so just the little bit that I've seen like on TMZ and stuff is like it originally came out that so he was the co-star and the director of this like romantic drama.
Yeah.
And it's based off of a book, so there's like a built-in fan base to it. And there might be some fighting over like who has the rights to the movie and for sequels and things like that. And there's like these weird reports that came out early on that he was like asking how much she weighed. And they're like, Jesus Christ, you're like, that's pretty offensive. But then I guess there was like, but then the counter was, well, there was a scene in which he had to like lift her up. So like he wanted to know.
I need to know, like if there's
Then-
wire work involved, like I need to know how much you weigh.
And then there was like a report that came out that like he was creepy when she was like breastfeeding on set. And then the other report was actually he asked her if she wanted to run lines, and then she was happened to be breastfeeding at the time. She was like, come on in. So you're like, I honestly don't know what to believe. He has had like a career, but like he's not Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds famous.
No, and I think this is like where he's going to need proof.
Yep.
Because like they can steamroll him in court.
They could demolish this guy. And
Yeah.
but it's also one of those ones where I think she thought that like he went against the script as far as like some of the making out scenes with her.
Yeah.
But if you watch this movie, it's like a significant amount of them making out. Like that's like the movie.
But it's also like there was also reports of like him trying to direct the movie and him like was she a producer or like a
yes, she was.
So she was like trying to undercut him the whole time.
Yeah, I don't, dude.
Like changing the script and like all like there seemed to be like
the thing
a recipe for disaster. And
yeah.
you could from according to you can see it on the screen because it's that bad.
Is a big hunk of shit. Then there's also a story that I guess he went to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's house, and Ryan Reynolds like accosted him, and he was claiming it was like the worst he's ever been talked to by anybody. And then there were witnesses that were there, and they were like, he was like stern, but he didn't yell. And it was like, I don't know. So I don't know what to believe, but these fucking Hollywood lawsuits are.
But then you make fun of the guy in like the #1 movie in the world for this year, and you know, probably not the best movie. You could have been a little bit more professional than that.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what'll happen with either one of them. My guess is like this guy might be kind of porked, and like I don't know how much he's gonna be on there.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds can do no wrong to anybody, right?
That's
he's kind of untouchable.
He is. He for sure is. She's definitely. She has more of a mixed sort of how people view her.
Yeah.
But like Ryan Reynolds, I think is like the stud of studs.
Yeah.
Teacup, a show that I told you to watch, and then I was like, actually, don't watch it.
And then you're like, forget about it.
Yeah, don't, because it started really hot, has been canceled. It'll not get a season 2 on Peacock. So there's one season currently out there now. It had a decent premise. First 2 episodes I thought were good, and then it was like kind of went downhill from there. Speaking of Peacock, are you watching The Traitors yet?
I dabbled. So I watched one episode, and I was kind of like, I could tell it was pulling me in.
Yes.
Boston Rob was pulling me in, and I was like,
yes. Fuck, here you
the
come.
play Boston Rob made, I was like, this show's actually pretty sweet.
Yep.
I don't know if I love the cast, but like
Same. I don't love the cast because I don't know most of the cast. So season
Allegedly, they're famous.
it's one of those.
Yeah.
So season 2 of The Traitors was unbelievable television, and I watched it because CT, Johnny Bananas, and Trishelle from Real World Challenge were all on the show, and then a bunch of other like.
Didn't CT win it?
Do you want me?
Either CT or that was last season though.
Yeah, it was last season. Yeah, CT and Trishelle won.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. Like and like Bananas was like one of the first guys out, and I remember being like, ah, but then the show was incredible. The cast this year a little bit different.
They're like, hey, do you think we could get Zac Efron for Traitors? And they're like, we'll call him. They're like, nah, it didn't work out, but we got his brother.
Like, yeah.
Who?
I don't know.
Zac Efron's brother.
So if he's the one that I think he is, he's actually pretty good on the show.
No, I know, but like,
no, I know, but like, oh yeah, and it's like a bunch of people that you and I would recognize because our wives watch Bravo. Right. There's a lot of Bravo stars and like whatever, but the whole premise,
old like Road Rules, Real World people.
But it's like not even this year. They don't even really have any. It's like,
what's it? Abram? Was it?
No,
Abram?
they got Wes.
Wes. I always got Wes and Abram confused.
Wes is less crazy.
Yeah. Abram's the one who like got all the scars on himself. Yeah.
He went out with Cara Maria for a while.
Yeah.
So the show, it's basically like a murder mystery, and they pick people and they call them the traitors, and then they get to pick who they want to kill, and each day they kill somebody, but then there's also a round table each day, and they try to vote out the traitors, and they all have like these theories.
It's basically Among Us.
It's live action.
Yeah.
Among Us. But what's a fun wrinkle is you never know how many traitors there are. There could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you don't know how many traitors are in the house at any given time. But what I love about the show, and they're so good at editing it, is how they do like the confessionals and people being like so dead set on like who somebody is, and it's like they're not. Like they're not at all. Like this fucking guy's a traitor. Like he was looking at me weird, and I know it's him. And then it's like, no, he's not at all.
But I also love. I didn't know this until I was watching the episode I was watching. But I didn't know that the traitors knew who the traitors were too.
Yes, so
they can pork each other too.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, they sit in a circle or like at a table, and Alan Cumming, the actor, is the host. He's fantastic.
He's great.
Like he is such a good host. So he goes through and just like taps you on the shoulder.
He plays 7-Up.
He plays 7-Up, and he picks the traitors. And then from there, you never know. Like they can always add traitors or whatever. But then they meet, and it's all very dramatic. But they meet like in the top of like a fucking castle, and they have hoods on, right? And they take the hoods down, and then they talk about who they're gonna murder, like for the next night. So there's like strategy to it. There's like a ton of strategy to it, and then like they're trying not to get found out. But you're right, the traitors, you don't want to like split a lot of money, so like you want to like be a traitor probably, and get pretty far. But you also got to be willing to throw them under the bus at some point. It's not really a team game by any sense.
No, it's not. But like, I was thinking like how we would do on it, and like they would sniff us out right away because we'd just work together the whole time.
I'd be terrible.
Yeah,
I'd be terrible because like one of us would be a traitor, one of us would be a faithful, and I'd be like, "How are we gonna work together?" And I'm like, "Dude, you can't work with me." And you'd be like, "You're a fucking God damn it!"
Yeah,
I'm like acting all weird.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's a way. So like you know me, I've always wanted to do a murder mystery.
And it's just never come together. Like you're always right there, and then it just something happens and it just doesn't work out.
I wonder if there's a way to do like a speed version of this, where like you get a big group. Say we get like a group of like 20 of us.
Yeah.
And every half hour, basically, everybody like goes to a different room, and like the traitor, like whoever's the traitors can like decide who they want to kill, and then like so basically like a speed rather than like going somewhere for a week, like you like do like a speed round of it. I think that'd be pretty fun, and then like people have to guess who the murderers are and all that stuff.
Or it'd be like a good Airbnb weekend.
Yeah, you might have to do 2 nights.
Yeah,
you could sleep on it.
Like
who do you think the killers were? So anyway, I'm excited for that. So I think they're 4 episodes in. I think I've seen the first 3.
I think I've seen 1, and I was like, I saw
it's good.
Mike the drag queen.
No, Bob the drag
Bob,
queen.
drag queen,
Bob,
yeah.
he's a good character. He's good.
He's a
He's
good
a good
character, yeah.
character. So yeah, so they had somebody from RuPaul's Drag Race. They had a bunch of Big Brother, a bunch of Survivor. I don't watch either show. So like
Now, we're not calling him Bob the drag queen. That's his name.
that's for sure his name. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not.
Yeah. No. There's also like a royal. They have like some guy that's like somehow related to like some royal over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know this fucking guy. What else was there? Oh, Nikki Bella, the former WWE wrestler, is in it, and like a bunch of other ones. So anyway, it's pretty good. Invincible season 3 has the full release schedule coming out February 6th. That's just around the corner, a couple weeks away from Invincible season 3.
Okay, I
I'll get in on
feel
that.
like I gotta catch up on season 2 again.
Yeah, you do.
I don't remember much from that season.
No, I need a previously on is what I'm gonna need. Ryan, how about this news? Joel McHale has been cast as Sidney Prescott's husband in Scream 7.
Which I'm confused.
I am too.
Did she already have a husband?
She did. So it's funny because they never like fully showed it, but in Scream 3, she famously met Patrick Dempsey's character, Detective Mark Kincaid.
Yes.
And they seemed like they ended Scream 3 kind of like together.
Mhm.
And then Scream 4 comes around and you don't see him. But then it was in Scream 5 or 6, they mentioned something about Mark. Or like I think Sydney says to McGale something along the lines of like Mark's at home. So like there's always a chance she married a different Mark, but the easy line to connect was that she's married to Mark Kincaid, played by Patrick Dempsey.
Yes.
Well,
but now it's Joel McHale.
God damn it. I don't like that. They're fucking up the casting on this. The fact that they don't have Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega is really bullshit.
Well, I don't know what's going on with this anymore. I don't know. Because like that way we followed them for 2 movies. Now they're out. Like, what? Like, what is going on?
It's horse shit.
Yeah.
But Kevin Williamson, Nev Campbell, I'm obviously gonna watch it immediately. But anyway. All right, what else do we got? Oh, Oscar nominations this Thursday. They'd been delayed because of all the insane fires out in California. They were supposed to be out last week, but this Thursday morning, we're gonna get the Oscar noms.
I tell you, I watched A Real Pain, though Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, I was gonna watch that. It's on Hulu now.
I don't. Okay, like this is it's one of those like it's very well acted, but it just
nothing happens.
It didn't. Yeah, and it just kind of ends. It just kind of like.
So I think Kieran Culkin is the heavy favorite to win Best Supporting Actor,
and he's excellent in the movie.
Now you've seen it, I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of a bullshit supporting actor? Is he kind of almost a lead?
Well, yes, in a sense, because he is kind of like the focal point. So it's basically 2 cousins. So Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin play cousins, right? And Jesse Eisenberg is very Jesse Eisenberg. Like he's very like nebbish and very like, takes a back seat to like everything he does. And his cousin, played by Kieran Culkin, is like way over the top. And they're going on this trip to Poland to like where their grandmother just passed and like whatever. And so he's like the life of the party kind of guy. So like he's obviously like the focus of the whole thing. So he is kind of the main character in the story. But it's funny, like one of the people on the trip, I'm like, I know who this woman is. I cannot put my finger on it. I cannot figure out who it is. I'll save you the trouble. It's Dirty Dancing's Jennifer Grey.
Wow.
I can't figure it out. But she's like in her 50s or 60s now. So like you're like, and had her nose done. I knew that was like a thing. Yeah.
She had that done a while ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like people can do whatever they want. It's their own body.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But like it's harder to recognize her.
That's kind of her thing.
Yeah.
I heard an interview once with Charlie Sheen, and not to get crass on the podcast, but Charlie Sheen, who's like, he's had sex with like 10,000 women or whatever. And somebody asked him who's the best he's ever been with. And you know who he said?
Jennifer Grey.
Jennifer Grey.
Met on the set of one of my favorite movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. He was in the police station.
Yeah,
He was in it for like a minute, right? He was like
that was a
barely in it.
cameo. Yeah,
Yeah,
just very briefly.
pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if A Real Pain's gonna get nominated for Best Picture, but it for like he 100% is gonna get nominated and might win supporting actor, which is kind of I don't know. We'll see. So I was on the fence about watching that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for the noms to come out because I try to rip through the 10 noms. So if it's not, maybe I'll end up skipping it. If it is, I'll give it a rip. All right, what do we got? Oh, I know what we got. That's right, folks. It's time for Should I Have Bought This? And you can send them into dorkpodcast@gmail.com. And once again, we have a Ryan Davey submission.
That's
Davey,
right.
what do you got?
Well, I'm going to hold this up. You're going to have to describe it,
I will describe it.
and then I will fill in some gaps.
The
Are you
gaps.
ready?
Okay. So if you're watching on YouTube, Davey is holding up a holy shit. It is a framed Rocket Raccoon comic book. I assume the Rocket Raccoon #1.
Number one.
I am not Keefe Eyeball, so I can't see.
There's glare on it. So this is Rocket Raccoon #1.
I love the frame, by the way, because
Michaels.
Got that at Michaels?
Yep, $14.99. They have magazine frames, so you can like frame.
It's sick, but it's got like a clear outline around it, so like it really shows off the comic book.
So what's interesting? What's interesting about this, and this is going to blow your mind. So I didn't know this until recently. So this is the very first run of Rocket Raccoon that Marvel ever did, right? So
what year?
It says May 1st. It doesn't have the date.
I bet that's
1985.
Okay, there you go.
So this is written by Bill Mantlo, the creator of Rocket Raccoon. But you know what's significant about this and the limited run of Rocket Raccoon prior to this?
What?
This was drawn by Mike Mignola.
Was it really?
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I watched the movie, but this was his big break with Marvel, is he actually drew the first, I think it was like a 4 or 5 episode, 4 comic run of just Rocket Raccoon, and Mike Mignola drew it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I have a Mike Mignola, Bill Mantlo, Rocket Raccoon #1 now framed in my house.
Wow. So the #1, so you bought the #1 comic and you bought the frame. Is that included in the price?
The frame is not included in the price,
okay,
but I will make a little. Okay, yeah. So what do you think?
Rocket Raccoon #1. I assume it's in good condition. It looks like it's in good condition.
Near mint.
That would be man, I'm bad at this. With how much, what would a comic book cost? Rocket Raccoon very popular now. I would say $69.
Okay. What does the chat think? Let's leave it to the chat. What do you think, chat?
All right, Ryan says $35.
Okay.
All right, send them in. What is your prediction for?
Maybe we'll get one more.
Ryan also says Keefe should not have. Should I have bought this for Coco's replacement Celsius in a planted pot? That's a whole story for another time.
Story for another time.
Josh in the chat saying $41. He's gonna try to jump in front of Ryan.
So I will tell you this, because it's my show. I don't care if this is bending the rules, right? With shipping, no frame, but with shipping, this cost me $25.99.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Excellent.
So not only is that a handsome buy on eBay, but it is also just over. I just cleared the $25 amount.
It counts. You always could have fudged it and gone like with frame. It was whatever.
Yeah, well, the frame was on sale. It's $14.99 for the frame. So like
that's not bad.
It's not bad, but $25 for that some bitch, or $26.
Dr. Joe was telling me about, because I was looking at some of those like graded comics, like those frames, but to get them graded and everything, it's actually kind of pricey. But he found a whole bunch of like just comic book ones, so they're like smaller than that. That's like I kind of want to display some of those. I mean, I have so much fucking junk in this room, like I probably shouldn't. That's just a fucking mess.
So I bought another frame. So the other one I have too, and this one I don't know how much this is worth. I know I got it the day it came out. You want to see the other frame comic I think I've shown it off before.
Oh my god, of course I want to see it. What am I, nuts? Of course, I want to
This
see
is
it on
the
print
Amazing Spider-Man number 36. It is the variant black cover that was for 9/11. So it's the
Wow.
9/11 Amazing Spider-Man, where there's no, was drawn by John Romita Jr. And this is
Holy
the
smokes.
variant black cover for 9/11. I don't know how much this is worth now,
Yep.
but I bought it for however much it was worth at the time. I bought it like at the store.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just put it right into a frame, and like I've read it once.
That's cool. That's awesome.
That's the only other one I have framed.
That's good looking.
Yeah, but look, it's just the black.
I love it
How
though.
much more? It's like space without the stars.
Smell the glove. smell the glove album.
The smell the glove Spider-Man.
Yeah. Fucking
None.
awesome.
How much more black can this get? And the answer is none.
None more black. It is one of my favorite types of like poster / artwork is the comic book cover. So I have a bunch in like every once in a while people ask me, they're like, why would you hang up like an X-Men #1 behind? I'm like, it's not. That is a poster. So
and it's huge.
Yeah, it's big. But like if you see it like in the room, maybe on somewhere. So I have some of my favorite ones. They're all fake. They're all posters. But I have like the Spider-Man where the debut of the Punisher. I have X-Men 1. I got what else do I got? The first
Hulk.
Avengers, the first the Hulk that debuts Wolverine, the first Daredevil, the first Silver Surfer. So I'm like, if I was ever like a big time comic book collector,
Yeah,
like
I have one of those up there too. It's actually the Infinity Gauntlet. Like the very
that's
first Infinity Gauntlet one. Yeah.
It's
the one where like he's holding up and it's like got all like the characters around it.
So good.
Yeah.
So that would be a set that I own that I would want to display is Infinity War 1 through 6, which would be pretty slick. All right, Ryan, what do you say? Do you want to do a few minutes on Severance episode 1 right now?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So this is spoilers for Severance episode 1. So it's not a huge deal if you haven't seen it, but if you really are waiting to watch it, I guess we'll talk to you next week. But season 1, it takes place right after a massive cliffhanger at the end of season 1 of Severance, where the innies get a chance to be the outies, if you will, for a moment, or at least 3 of them do. And you find out, John Turturro, you find out about his character, and looks like he's actually trying to bring Lumen down like a little bit. Like he's investigating Lumen, and he's very different than the character that he is like on the inside.
And he does that painting with like the
it's like a black painting, looks like a wall or like
an elevator.
Yes. Yeah. Clearly something that he had seen on the inside, and his Audi somehow remembers that. Adam Scott is at a party, and he's with his sister. The big reveal there is, well, 2 for Adam Scott, I guess, is Patricia Arquette's character was playing she herself was playing 2 different characters, right? And so she worked at Lumen until she got fired, but then she was also Adam Scott's neighbor. And so she knew the innie version and the outie version of him. He also finds out who his wife was, Miss Carey? And she was inside Lumen.
She was
like
inside.
They knew her as,
and she's alive.
Else. Yes.
Because she was dead. Like
he
the whole
thought she was dead, right.
Yeah. And then the other reveal is like, isn't like the guy who wrote the book his brother-in-law?
Yeah, but we knew that. No. So it's
that's another reveal for him.
Yeah. It's right. We knew that because they're like on the outside, Adam Scott just kind of like rolls his eyes at his brother-in-law, but on the inside, they got a copy of that book and like think he's like the guy.
Yeah,
like he like thinks he's incredible. But then the other big one is Helly is all a part of like the family that created this whole thing.
Like she's
like in there like she went in there like for a reason, but again, her character's very different on the inside.
And she was telling like at the end there was like that gala, and she was like telling like investors like there was like an experiment, like she was going to go in to see what it was like.
Yes, but then she comes out and is like, this place is fucked or whatever, and like it's awful in there, and so it's like crazy. So then apparently like 5 months go by, and then
that's the thing, like in my mind I'm like, or does it?
Yeah.
Or are they fucking with them?
Also possible.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the outies though are like not heroes, but like they're viewed as like they're almost like celebrities now,
like whistleblowers.
Yeah, but like the show, it's still going on like on the inside, like it didn't put an end to it. And Adam Scott's Audi was like, nope, send them back in. The other ones at first are like, no, don't go back in. But then they're all back in there again.
And they gave him, remember, like they had to convince, and the guy says, what's his name? Milchick says like, we gave you all the choice, and the three of them needed some convincing, but you were the only one who insisted you come back.
Yeah.
Like, and then they put him with like another team, and the team's really weird.
It's like when Seinfeld had like his other friends.
Yeah.
Remember in Seinfeld when he had like the other version of
the
Kramer,
Bizarro Jerry? Yeah.
Yeah, we had Bizarro.
Yeah.
All the Bizarros.
Yeah.
No, not Jerry. Elaine. And when Elaine
Mhm.
had the Bizarro, Jerry, George, and Kramer. Yeah, because so he goes in there and they all were like the same like archetype. Like it was like a John Turturro type. It was like a Helly type.
Played by Bob Balaban, who was awesome.
Bob Balaban's great. But then also it was Maybe from Arrested Development. Yeah, Maybe Funke, who's good. She was in The Old Man too. She was good in that. And then another guy who's like kind of like Dylan,
but like Italian, right? Is he?
Yeah,
Italian?
but like similar. Like they were like kind of like the three of them were somewhat similar, and you're like,
like
what the fuck is even going on here?
But meanwhile, he's like still running amok down, like he knows what's going on, but then like Milchick has like this weird kid assistant now.
Oh my god,
like,
the girl
things are different. Yeah.
It's so weird. And then
it's really
that's
weird.
But then they eventually get the group back together, and they're all explaining who their innies, or I guess who their outies are.
Mm-hmm.
And Helly doesn't say. Helly keeps that information close to the vest.
And she says it's boring. Like it's not.
Really like I was just like at home in sweats. And you're like,
you're watching a nature show.
The most interesting.
Yeah, like that's the exact opposite of what I wanted to hear.
But she wouldn't reveal it. And John Turturro's character is obviously upset because like he saw Christopher Walken and all that stuff. Adam Scott, like he told him about like Miss Carey or whatever, but they I don't know, they didn't go crazy about that. I thought that'd be a bigger deal.
But in the beginning, they had that really cool shot that they did with like robot arms and stuff. That was just like really disconcerting. Like he's running around and it's like in front of him the whole time, but the camera's like kind of like zooming around him. The wellness area that she was in is gone. Like he went and actually tried to find her and she's gone.
Not there. There was a thing that came out that he studied Tom Cruise's running for that scene, and I swear to God, that was what I thought of when he was running through there. I'm like,
he does that like same arm swing.
I'm like he's doing good camera, like he's doing good TV running, and like Tom Cruise, nobody's better than that.
And I read that article too, and that whole opening sequence took 5 months to shoot.
Insane.
And I was like, I'm like, it's going on a little long, but it's really cool.
Yeah. Here's a question in the chat. Any chance the new supervisor is Adam Scott and his wife's kid? I think anything's on the table with this
Anything's
show.
on the table. And again, one of the things that I immediately thought of is like 5 months has passed. I'm like, no, it didn't.
Hey, we don't know how much time has passed.
It could be the next day. They don't know. Like,
Yeah.
It could be the next day. They don't know.
Because remember in season 1, one of the things about this technology was also for like pregnant women too, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Because there's that line where they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you have like however many kids. You're like, well, this like obviously helps, doesn't it? And you're like, wait, what? So like they just like check out and like do that, then like come back.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. I love it though.
Like,
there's so much going on.
Like, can you imagine like what would you have your innie do in your life?
Well, I don't think you'd have that. You don't know. Is the problem.
Right, but like if I could pick a part of my day that I could just like check out for and then like come back in.
Yeah, I feel like we probably brought this up in the last episode though. It's like
I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't.
Because like if you're in there, you're in there, and like you can't communicate with like your family, like when you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be insane. I don't think
there's also like so much of like what I do it like has to do with like where I live and like so I couldn't do it.
But even if you were like, hey, for every day, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, like you can't get a hold of me. I don't know what the fuck my guy's doing, but I'm making money, and then I come back and I live the rest of my life. Like I don't know, still.
But it would. I mean, on the flip side, it would be nice to like wake up at like 5:30 and be like, all right, well, I got money, I got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Let's have a time.
I know. But then you'd be like, I don't know what. Yeah, I'd be like, I'd drive myself nuts, being like, what were they doing to my body in there? Like, what were they doing to like my mind in there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and there was Josh. I forgot about that Rick and Morty episode with the night persons.
Yeah, yeah.
They just do all the shit for them at night. Yeah,
The night persons could be.
Yeah.
I like this idea. I'll reach out to Billy D as well. I like this idea of Severance. I think it'll be good for us because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So we also got to do, coming up this month or soon, 2025 movies, 2025 TV shows, and let's rip some Severance. So if you guys
we
are,
could do like
Yeah.
2025 movies and Severance episode 2, or 2025 TV shows and Severance episode 3. Like we could just like split them that way.
Yeah.
I like this. And you know what? I like the interactivity. I like talking about it with the chat. I like their
Yeah.
input as well.
if you guys are watching Severance, hop in here with your theories. And it won't be like right after the episode, like House of the Dragon. It'll be like our normal Monday spot, but it gives you 3 days to watch
Yeah,
it.
because it comes out on Thursday.
I think it might be a Friday. It might be a
Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday or Friday. So
Yeah.
gives you a few days to watch it, and then we'll rip it on Monday. So, all right, I like it very much. Oh, good question. You know what? I didn't even finish Silo season 2. Josh is asking me. Silo season 2. Shark, I think, liked it. I watched like the first episode and a half, and it didn't pull me back in the same way as that. I got to give it another shot. I got to get back. I love Rebecca Ferguson. I owe it to her to give it another shot.
She's listening right now, friend of the pod.
But the first episode didn't do a lot for me, and I was like, "Am I gonna
Didn't move the needle?
No, it didn't. I was so soft. But
No blood flow.
Nothing. But I will give it a rip. Let me know what you guys thought of Silo, by the way. No spoilers, but let me know what your dork scores were if you did see Silo season 2. All right, dorkpodcast@gmail.com, and then hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Dork Podcast. Subscribe, follow, leave reviews, all that nonsense on all those places. And in the meantime, Dave, promise me a million times over, you'll never do another rule.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to promise you that.
The hashtag Dork Podcast.